This probably leads us beautifully to my fifth choice. And if I'll just take a quick step back. The four choices that we just talked about. So the four choices: making a first choice, committing to a two-way agreement, building trust, and creating community and belonging. Those four choices for me built upon each other and prepared me for my fifth choice. For me, it was linear. I had to make those other choices until I was ready and prepared to make the most important choice. I think the choice we all can make to create enduring success, and that is to embrace our boundless capacity to give love and to receive love.
Yeah.
So I want to get into this with you.
Okay, let's do it.
And maybe we just start with, we all have a choice. When I think about love, what I'm not talking about is love as an emotion, love the emotion, when we had kids, we didn't need to choose to love them. They were just, the emotion was there. That wasn't a choice. So I'm talking about the choice to give love and to receive love in the way that it manifests itself, and for different people in different ways at different times. Would you share a story or tell us what it means to you to choose to give all of your love?
Yeah, well, sorry. Had I can probably give you two, but it's a recurring theme. But probably the easier one for me to tell out loud. Through that community I mentioned earlier, back in Salt Lake City, got to know a good friend of mine, and Chris. And Chris was here, just happened to be in Texas. I live in San Antonio now. He was in Austin with his wife and some friends, and we were not part of that trip. I was actually out of town. And his wife had an accident while they're on this trip, just a weekend trip, having fun. They're on one of those scooters that you see everywhere. She went down and ended up with a traumatic brain injury. Wasn't sure she was going to survive. And his entire life changed in that exact moment on a Saturday night when everything's just going, like it should. So I flew home, got to Austin to go just support him. But the one thing I did that I'm really proud of, and I had a hard time telling this story because I don't want it to be a bragging thing for me, but it is a time that I chose to give all my love and my heart, my soul to somebody. I found us a place to live. Thankfully, one of my best friends from high school, had an extra space we could stay in, and I moved to Austin with Chris, and I lived there for about 2.5, 3 weeks. I slept on a couch. I took him to and from the hospital every single day. She was in a coma for a good period of time at the beginning, and then began to come out. When they finally were able to at least get her to the next stage, which is rehab, she couldn't go back to Utah. We moved him here to my home, to San Antonio. We put her in rehab in San Antonio. He lived with us. And this is all told ended up being about a month of our time. And so, for me to give, yes, but giving love is, I was fortunate enough, again, back to an incredible partner with Patty, and, where I could set my life aside and just support him and love him. And it was everything from driving to and from, taking him to dinner, just trying to keep him laughing and thinking and talking and crying with him, and agreeing that this is terrible and all this sucks. And it's, and trying to not go down the rabbit hole of the future, and so that was something I'm really proud of. Unfortunately, we had another situation a year later where my nephew passed away unexpectedly, and I ended up doing the exact same thing for my sister, my brother-in-law. And so, while it's awful that these situations have happened, I would tell you the only silver lining is, you said it beautifully. Like, it's, there's no cap on the love and the support we can give. And I found that for whatever reason, that is a gift I can give of just presence and service, and giving and hanging my life up, and not just saying, boy, I hope everything turns out okay, I'll come visit you on the weekend, but going all in and being in it, and being in the toughest, hardest, most emotional times. It's awful. But and the flip side is, I was able to give something that no one else could have given. And the love I received back and continue to, I can see every day in the eyes of my family and my friend Chris of what it meant to them. And I just know my time's coming, right? I'm going to have that moment where I need that love and support. And I'm really proud of the fact that I was able to pour myself into them that way. Yeah.
And Chris and your sister and brother-in-law chose to receive all of your love. And sometimes I think we don't.
That's true.
choose to receive it all. And Chris
Yeah.
did. If we just keep with Chris for a minute. And I think that is powerful because it allowed you to give it all and
Hmm.
feel him receiving.
Yeah, that's right.
Has
That's right.
there, yeah, keep going.
No, it's just true. Because I just think through the moments when they were here and before we finally were able to get her stable and get back to Utah. And by the way, she might hear this. Suzanne's kicking butt, but she's doing great. But I do remember a really emotional time. As they were leaving, and he just kind of broke down of just thanking me for everything that I did and Patty did along the way. And it was he had an interesting observation that on the surface, I think I made something like the comment, like you would do it for me. And he said something really powerful and what he said was, I'm not sure that I would have. And he started bawling, crying. And I thought about that for a long time. And what he meant was, of course he would. But when you think about it in a rational, pragmatic way, you're like, am I really going to hang up my whole life for 2 or 3 weeks and move in with somebody, do all this? But when the moment hits you and someone you love is in trouble, yeah, that's exactly what you're going to do. And that's exactly what he would do for me. And I did it for him. But it was just an interesting moment, probably for both of us. But he would do that. But when you think about it at a rational level, it probably sounds nuts, but it's what you do. It's what people that love each other should do. And it's changed my perspective on empathy and just being present and being there for somebody. And honestly, most of the time was just sitting there going, yeah, this is terrible. It's not a bunch of yeah buts, or Brene Brown's got a great line about don't ever lead with at least. That one I love.
That's
Well,
great.
at least you have insurance and you can cover it. Like, no, this is just all terrible. I mean, let's
Yeah.
just sit in it and love on each other. And so, anyway, I'll pause there.
And I also believe that those actions of love, the behavior of giving love that you just articulated, we can do in the smallest of moments. And
Mm,
perhaps those are the times where it's harder to do because it's not the big moment and knowing that your best friend needs this support and this love and this care. And I hope and I would ask people to consider that even in the small moments, to choose to give love through all of the examples that you gave can not only transform the person that you're giving it to, but more so transform you yourself
yeah.
in the giving.
Think about the small thing. It's funny. I think I make some of my friends uncomfortable because I just started telling my friends I love them. And I put it in the I had a friend of mine whose mother passed away today, and I just texted her and said, "Hey, I love you. I'm so glad you're in my life." And it's
Mm,
interesting that some people react right away. I love you too, and some people just, "Hey, thanks." But I'm not going to stop. Like, I think people need to know that,
yeah,
and it's cliche, but you never want to look back and not have said something that's important to you. And so, it is little moments like that. You're exactly right. Just a little text here or there, just saying it out loud. And it's hard to say out loud
totally.
sometimes. But strangely, it's harder to say out loud sometimes to like your spouse than it is to some friend. Like, it's like we're wired in such weird ways that it's hard to verbalize it, but it's
Yeah.
important to do
And
so.
we can act it out. I mean, you brought up examples and then I'll move us forward, but you brought up examples when we were talking about building trust. Like a manifestation of giving love, I think, is asking questions and listening. Like all of those things in the totality are manifestations of us choosing to give and choosing to receive. And I'll leave our audience with this ponder, this ponder for you and I is I know there are many reasons why we choose to withhold love. And I know there are many reasons why we choose to not receive all the love that others want to give us, whether it's fear or it's pride or all of the things, fear being probably the biggest one. And what I ponder is what if each of us today showed up in the spirit in our next interaction with all of the interactions that we have today with our fellow human beings, just show up in the spirit of, I'm going to give you all the love all of it, and I'm going to receive all that you want to give me. Like, what could that mean?
Unbelievable, right?
It-
I mean, it's I mean, for me, I can tell you that what it means for me is, and I kind of like it back to the story I told about the bike and the people that I've met is, what it means is relationship and community building way beyond your predefined religious or political or societal or regional situation. It's just being honest and being forthright and being caring and empathetic. And imagine the expansion of your community at that moment with people that you never in your life dreamt that would be part of your life, and they bring such unique perspective and gifts to you that a story for another interview. But the people that I met, stories I told today, are all folks that I would not have met had I not made a choice that I was going to insert myself into communities and receive and give love. And it's through ups and downs, it has been the greatest gift. But I think in the world today, if we could show love and therefore show honesty and show understanding and empathy, we actually might all enjoy hanging out together.
Exactly.
On every little thing. So
exactly. You are so awesome. I believe with my whole heart, that we create enduring success and we fuel the success of those around us when we do choose. When we choose to give all of our love and we choose to receive it. And your stories and your examples just bring all of that to life. Thank you for choosing to give me you and your time and sharing these amazing stories with our communities.
Well, thanks for creating all this. This is an incredible platform. I'm so lucky to have known you. Yeah, thank you.
You're so awesome.
All right. Love you.
I love you. See, that's perfect. Thank you for joining me for our Choose and Become interview series. You could find this episode and others at trishkendall.com. Just go to trishkendall.com/choose-become-interview-series. Or if you have a question or just want to leave a comment, email me, trish@trishkendall.com.